Hello, my little shards. Today we are reviewing Gleamlight, a game that comes to us from developer Deco and publisher D3. I played Gleamlight on Steam, however it is also available on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Unless there is a sale, this game is currently available for $19.99 on all of the platforms that I mentioned. This is a 2D platformer, and I'd go into the story here, but there really isn't one. They do not have any narration in this. There's really no storytelling mechanic. It's just, you just go. You just do it. I feel like I need to preface this whole review by saying that I saw the trailer for this and I was super excited because obviously it's beautiful. I love stained glass, and this whole game is done in the style of stained glass art. I love the art. I love platforming. I thought this was the recipe for a perfect game for me, and I hate to be hard on games, but this one just really missed the mark, and it's a little disappointing. So the game opens up without explanation. You have to figure out that you have to push the one action button to kind of awaken your main character, who has no name. I'm assuming his name is Gleam, given the game's title. But anyway, as you progress, you really only have the directional buttons and the action button, and later a few other mechanics, but that's basically it. There are also a few boss battles in this game, but they're really strange because the core mechanic of this game is that each time you hit or damage an enemy, you gain back shards of glass, which is your health. Likewise, if an enemy hits you, they can take bits of your shards of glass and regain health themselves. So the boss battles are no different. You can go back and forth hitting the boss and them hitting you and get nowhere, and they could literally go on forever. Apart from the boss battles, your main objective in the game is to find and hit switches, which open doorways so you can proceed, and that's it. There's no exploration, it's completely linear, there's no collectibles or secrets to find. You can break parts of the environment, which will shatter, but there's nothing underneath them. If you make it to the end of this game and you still want to play Gleamlight for whatever reason, there is some incentive to continue. However, it's not super easy to find, and you may end up like me on the internet, Googling it. It took me about an hour to get through the core main gameplay. If you went through everything, maybe it would take you 2 to 3 hours, but not a whole lot more than that. Graphics, again, beautiful. When I booted up this game, I was excited. I was so excited because everything looks like stained glass, and it's almost done in a Hollow Knight-esque style, which is another game that I've loved. It's colorful. I thought the lighting was unique and well implemented. Overall, a beautiful looking game, but the beauty is skin deep. The second you start to play, you immediately notice the flaws underneath. Every time you take damage, it seems like your game seizes up, and I don't know if that's a stylistic choice or if that's an actual mechanical issue with the game. Either way, it was distracting from the gameplay, and oftentimes the maneuvers and mechanics of the game were hard enough to pull off on their own, so adding that additional challenge made some of the jumps all but impossible. The enemy design was unique at first. It was really interesting to see how they would implement the glass shards into the enemies, and there was some variety to them. However, the deeper you got into the game, you did begin to see a lot of repetition of the enemies, and they all start to blur together at a certain point. For once, I actually couldn't even tell you what the soundtrack was. It was so ambient and in the background that I didn't even notice it was playing half the time. I couldn't even hum a tune of it. As I mentioned before, there's no narration, so no voice acting of any kind. And really the only other element of the sound design was the shattering of glass when you hit an enemy or an object. Again, I hate to be hard on this game because I did have such high hopes for it, given the style of it and the trailer. I was really excited to play a stained glass window, essentially. But unfortunately, with all of the care and creativity that went into the art style of it, the gameplay and game design is so flawed that it completely spoils the experience. Gleamlight was great in theory, just not in execution, and it's actually window painful to get through. Thank thank you for watching my review of Gleamlight. If you'd like to follow us for all of our reviews and previews, hit the subscribe button below. We also now have a merchandise store and membership, which are linked in the description box. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.